Oliver Tian Associates in Singapore. He is also the Vice President of GRC and Vice Chair of AIRC. Mr. Oliver Tian is a seasoned speaker at numerous international conferences. He is a champion of leveraging to augment human capacity and technology and potential. Now this afternoon, he'll be sharing on how low-rise construction are reaping the benefits from the adoption of AI and robotics in planning, construction, and inspection phases. So let's all welcome Mr. Oliver Tian.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much, Al, and thank you, Chairman Kim, for a good introduction on how we can adopt AI and robotic technology in the construction sector. Let me now share my screen and we can talk about what is technically possible in this particular space. I've chosen the topic Tomorrow's Build and how robots can help in the construction of low-rise building, because clearly we are definitely seeing the use of AI, robotics, and construction technologies come together in a very positive way. Well, as we all know it, from many reports that we have been reading, and I chose this one from McKinsey Global Institute, it's clearly stated that the construction industry contributes $1.6 trillion of value add to the world economy. Now, 1.6 trillion, that's a huge number that we are all looking at. And construction really matters because it is the initial foundation of how our economy is going to grow. At the same time, we are also seeing the need to reinvent construction. We need to do so to achieve a route to higher productivity. Now, to do so, McKinsey has suggested that we need to focus on a few areas, a few practical routes, which are contributing to the low productivity in construction. Classified into three categories: external forces, industry dynamics, and firm-level operational factors. Now, for each of these particular areas, McKinsey has actually identified that there's a need to look at how projects, as they become increasingly more complex, needs to be maximized, needs to be optimized, needs to be managed effectively. And there's really a need to look beyond just the site project management, but look at the intended integration of processes across the entire construction cycle. Regulations, labor skills, technology augmentation are all very important to be able to achieve this. Now, construction can be quite opaque and sometimes quite highly fragmented. And this is where a very intensive integrated view of how construction projects can be managed becomes extremely important. Contractual structures and incentives must be aligned in order to achieve many of these objectives, and more importantly, raise productivity. There are a number of areas that McKinsey believe we can boost higher productivity. And these are classified into the need to look at regulatory guidelines, the need to rewire and reshape some of the contracts that take place. Very importantly, the design. The overall design of a construction project needs to look at from head to toe, and the whole building information management system must be able to oversee and provide the right oversight for project managers. Procurement and supply chain has to be integrated, and there are room to fill in the gaps to achieve higher productivity. On-site execution, construction being a sector where the environment for automation may not be as easy due to the unfriendly geography and status. Somewhere, somehow, we need to infuse technology and greater innovation into the construction sector. Reskilling also becomes a very important factor to consider when we look at how we can improve productivity in construction. In this blog write-up, just last month, barely 5 weeks ago, the writer Elaine Brown suggests that AI will take construction robotics from hype to reality. It is time that we believe AI and robotics can play a major role to explore how this can be achieved. I think project managers should start optimizing how this can be done. I'd like to, at this moment, play a little soundbite from the Asian Robotic Review that talks about the promises of robotics in construction, particularly starting from 2022. So hang in there. I'm going to play the soundbite right now.
Hooray for construction robotics. It seems to be on the rise for 2022. Oh, the noise from a construction site. We've all suffered through the annoying din. But construction is not only noisy and a traffic nightmare, but it's also inefficient, woefully expensive, and dangerous. Thankfully, construction is now getting serious attention from automation and robotics, and 2022 might be a breakout year. According to McKinsey's infrastructure report and ABI research, annually $10 trillion in construction-related spending goes on globally, which is the equivalent of 13% of world GDP. The sector employs 7% of the world's working population, where 20,000 annually are injured. Safety or lack thereof puts construction right up there with mining, fishing, logging as the most dangerous professions. Since 1945, productivity in manufacturing, retail, and agricultural sectors has grown by 1,500%, while construction growth has remained stagnant.
The way we build today is largely unchanged from the way we used to build 50 years ago. And so there has been a certain level of stagnation as far as the technological innovation goes in the industry.
A lot of these projects go over budget and over time. One of the big benefits is just making sure that you get things done in a defined amount of time with a more predictable schedule.
You can have that one person having the productivity of 5 machines. And so it starts to scale pretty significantly.
This is very hard work on the body, and we've seen that 1 out of every 4 workers tends to end their career earlier with injuries.
Construction's a massive industry that hasn't benefited from a lot of the latest technological advancements we've seen in the world. And so we believe that bringing digitization and automation into this industry will really transform how it works.
Global labor productivity growth in construction has averaged only 1% a year over the past 2 decades, contrasted with growth of 2.8% in the world economy and 3.6% in manufacturing. This clearly indicates that the construction sector is underperforming. Agriculture and manufacturing have increased productivity 10 to 15 times since the 1950s. The productivity of construction remains stuck at the same level as 80 years ago. Current measurements find that there has been a consistent decline in industry's productivity since the late 1960s. Disruption of construction industry via robotics and automation could increase the construction industry's value by $1.6 trillion a year, which is like boosting global GDP by 2% a year. ABI Research is out with a headline that says it all. It blares out, "Construction, the next frontier of robotics adoption, thanks to advances in automation technology." For 2022, construction is now getting serious attention from automation and robotics. The Finnish innovation agent, Arni Hankinson, is out with the world's best construction robotics list for 2022. You got to download this and eyeball it. He lists 53 together with the URLs for individual websites. So according to the list, there's 53 companies worldwide that could have a breakout this year, 2022. For a PDF version of the article, just go to This Is Robotics Radio News and download the article as a PDF, plus our top 10 picks for construction robotics breakouts in 2022. There's also a link there to Mr. Haskinson's 53, together with the URLs for the individual global companies. For the future, we may not be getting less of this, but it may just happen over a shorter period of time. Best of luck for construction robotics in 2022.
There you have it, everyone. Mr. Tom Green, Editor-in-Chief, Asian Robotic Review. Now, he has done quite a number of reviews on different applications of robotics in different sectors. And this was just a soundbite that I picked up from him with courtesy from his publication to share with you some of his findings in the use of construction robots and the implications, the possible upside of using robots in the construction industry. Now, there are probably a number of ways we need to look at in terms of how construction technology can help to combat the labor shortage, right? And here are some of the views that have been shared by various people, right? Tech-savvy communication, efficiency and ability to look at workforce management, safety management, as well as optimizing the productivity of the labor force. There are many ideas and there are many potential that we look to explore in how technology can support this particular space. Now, there are many robots that have been starting to look at the ability to build structures. Here, I show you a picture of a robot building a low-rise structure in Australia. And such technology has been widely used by contractors in Europe as well as the Americas. The huge potential of this, how this can be done, is really there. I will try to share with you a video clip towards the end of this presentation on how this can be done. Well, then the fear comes about, will robots take over the construction job? Well, let's be assured, not anytime soon, right? Various reviews have seen that robotic technology will play a major role to augment humans in tomorrow's build. Rest be assured that in order to employ the younger generation into the construction sector, technology will play a part to enable, to motivate the interest, to create the opportunity for the younger generation to join the workforce. So with that, I end my presentation, but I will show you a quick video right now on how robots can play a major role in building low-rise structures. So let me end from here.
FBR is revolutionizing the residential construction process like never before. As soon as a home buyer steps foot in a builder center, they will be able to select from high-quality, modern architectural house designs specifically optimized for the Hadrian X construction robot, with a focus on delivering speed, accuracy, safety, and waste reduction throughout the construction process. Got a design idea of your own? FBR's unique architectural design software, known as TAD, can transform any wall sketch into optimized block information that the Hadrian X construction robot can lay, intuitively accounting for the building codes of whatever jurisdiction a home is constructed in. Once the final plans and contract are signed off on, the real magic behind FBR's technology begins. The TAD software is able to produce a detailed 3D CAD model, forming the basis from which the Hadrian X construction robot builds. It also provides a complete bill of materials, accounting for every brick and saving offcuts to be used later on in the build. This highly accurate source of data enables following trades to pre-order or prefabricate items such as roof trusses and window frames, enabling swift installation once the bricklaying has been completed. As the Hadrian X construction robot arrives on site, it surveys data points on the slab to ensure it perfectly matches the 3D model, and then commences the construction process. The Hadrian X is loaded with pallets of blocks through the use of an ancillary vehicle. These blocks are automatically unpacked by de-hacking robots, cut to size using an internal saw, if necessary, and transported through a telescopic boom with a reach of up to 25 meters. Upon delivery to the layhead, each block is applied with construction adhesive, which bonds twice as strong as traditional mortar, and then laid with precision. A typical 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home can currently be constructed by the Hadrian X in just over 24 hours. In FBR's home of Western Australia, building operations are only allowed to commence between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday. But 24-hour construction is possible in other jurisdictions around the world. Once the bricklaying component is completed to exact specifications, following trades arrive to continue the construction process. The Hadrian X construction robot builds with such accuracy that it results in significant cost and time-saving benefits to the builder and, as a knock-on effect, to the homeowner. With this new home reaching lockup and the keys handed over to the owners, the Hadrian X construction robot can now proceed to its next residential construction assignment. FBR, Innovation in the Making.
So there you have it. A very interesting project set in reality where robots can play a major role not to displace the human capability, but to augment what the humans can do and enhance upon our potential at the same time. What is really possible as we move forward is that the role of AI and robotics will play in the construction sector will immediately contribute to a major productivity in the sector. Of course, there are possibly a number of challenges that we need to overcome, one of which could be the mindset of project managers and engineers, and secondly, probably in the area of labor reskilling. Let's talk more about this together with other speakers. So with that, I end my presentation here today. I hand you over to the MC, Ms. Au Kwan, who will introduce the remaining speakers. And if there's any questions, feel free to type them into the chat, and we will try to answer them towards the panel session. Thank you. Elle, over to you.
Thank you so much, Oliver, and thank you for those videos. 24 hours, that is really, really impressive. And we'd like also to thank Mr. Tom Green in his video. So there you have it. You've just heard from Mr. Oliver Tian, Vice President of